Hello, everybody, and welcome to Dr. Cami and Karen Go Keto, where Dr. Cami and I are transitioning to a ketogenic carnivore lifestyle. And today we have a special guest that we're very excited to have for an interview. And I'm going to have Dr. Cami introduce her to everybody.
Hi, everybody. I'm so delighted today to have with us Mary Cipriani. And Mary is a licensed marriage and family therapist. She's been practicing in California since 1994, and she's a professor at Azusa University in the graduate MFT department, marriage and family therapy department. And I met Mary when I was I think I might have met you before that talk you gave over at Jeff's place, but that's when I really got to know Mary and her story, which is very, very remarkable about her journey through keto transition in her life. So she's here today to tell us about her transition and about her success and what didn't work for her and how it all came about that she's this wonderful, beautiful lady now who's so much more healthier.
Thank you, Mary.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it's so good to be here, and it was so good to hear your story, Cami. When we spoke at Jeff Cotterman's workout studio, and just to hear your journey as well. And I had no idea, and then yeah, and then you got to hear mine. So it's just very encouraging to hear these stories. But yeah, so just a bit about me and my journey. Um, so my history with weight, um, I was pretty good. I've always done athletics. I grew up on a swim team. I played field hockey and tennis in high school while I was swimming, and then went off to college. And I started to run. And in my last 3 years of college, I ran on the men's cross country team because I had transferred to a college and Eastern University, and they didn't have a girls cross country. So I ran on the men's along with probably two other women as well, and then just kept running after that. I loved running. I got so much out of it. And so being a runner like that, and I ran 10K races. I never went into half marathons or marathons. I just ran for fun and also to lift my endorphins. And and then I moved to California, and I'm running out here, and it's wonderful in 1988. And then, so runners can pretty much eat whatever they want and when they want. And I pretty much did that. And then in 1990, I got pregnant, and I was running 25 miles a week up until I was 8 months pregnant. And so I kept running and gained the pregnancy weight, probably took it off. But then when I ran after I delivered my daughter, my bladder emptied out. And so that wasn't great. But then I was fine. I think it was too soon after. And then I finally got it back together again. I had a jogger. I put my baby in the jogger and used to run with her even as she got older and kept running. And then in 97, I got pregnant again, and I was still running, but not as much. And then I had my son, and after I had him, I was walking, and then I thought, and I was walking down this small mountain in San Diego, Mount Helix, and then I thought, oh, I can, I just walked up, but why don't I just run down? It's so easy, it'll be quick, and I'll start running again. But doing that multiple times, I injured my back, and I had a bulging disc in my lower vertebrae, and my doctor said, stop running. And I had to get shots in the spine for that. The disc was bulging. I had sciatica down, so it was really bad. So that was hard. I stopped running and I started to do the elliptical, or I walked. But the weight was not coming off, and I didn't know what was going on. And so I would work out, but my stress level was pretty high. Um, because I was teaching and teaching a lot, teaching full time and running a full time practice. And then in 2007, I opened up my own practice, San Diego Institute for Couples and Families, and I'm raising my two kids and trying to keep afloat. So yeah, I think we know, Tammy, right? Like cortisol is really bad for us and it helps to keep weight on. And so not only did I not lose a lot of the pregnancy weight, but then I was gaining more weight. And I didn't know what was going on because I was like working out all the time. But I was also teaching until late in the evenings. Sometimes I wouldn't get home until 10 p.m. And, starting earlier in the day to work out and just going all day. And then with my kids and whatnot, a lot of stress in my life at that time. And then also stress in my marriage, and my body changed. I was diagnosed with PMDD. So they put me on a very low dose of
What's that, Mary?
premenstrual dysphoric disorder. So worse than PMS. I had never had PMS before. Actually, I was pretty lucky about that. And so then I was diagnosed with PMDD because I felt like I wanted to kill somebody. And but they gave me Serafem, and it turned out to be Prozac, but it was a very low dose. But still, they changed the name because they didn't want to freak people out that they were on Prozac. But that's what they gave me, and then that added to not being able to lose weight, and so high stress and working a lot, teaching. I taught at Seminary San Diego, and then I left there in 2007, went over to Azusa, and then I was also training all the time and training people on my staff and just a lot, and keeping up with raising two kids and whatnot. And my marriage was taking a bit of a nosedive because my husband wasn't really on board with a lot of different things. He was very focused on himself and what he was doing. And so I was pretty much alone in all the things that I was doing, and had some problems, had some diagnoses. He did. And it wasn't good. He wasn't working on helping to repair the marriage. I was I was trying to repair. Took us to like 10 different therapists over the years, so that wasn't good. So my stress level was off the charts, and then I didn't realize this, but I went to the one of the best doctors for weight management in the place where I was getting all my medical treatment. And they were like, why don't you go on this pill, take metformin? How about the sleeve? Like, how about an operation, stomach stapling, all those kinds of things. But nobody looked at my insulin level. And I pretty much ate pretty clean. Like I don't do fast food, wasn't doing fast food. I was still working out, although I did find comfort in eating sweets, actually. And then if I was upgrading papers late at night, like I wanted to eat carbs because I was so tired. So that was hard. And but my insulin level was really off the charts. In about 2013, my ex lost his job. He was depressed. He wasn't doing well. and it was just really bad at home. He had an addiction. He ended up having an affair, and so we split. And I'm still like burning the candle at both ends, working 12-hour days. My stress was off the charts. So then my friends said they invited me um, to go with them. Well, my marriage pretty much ended. We split. And then I was still trying to do it on my own. And my friends invited me to go with them and do keto fasting. And I'm like, oh, yeah, no, I tried that once. It didn't work. And they said, yeah, well, why don't you, we're following this doctor, low carb MD, Dr. Brian Lenski's like, why don't you follow it with me? So I did. I started listening to the podcast and they were just blowing my mind. And I just started on keto, and I started to lose the weight. And this was like 2019 into 2020 and through 2021. And like it was just falling off. And it was all about the insulin. And they were, and I actually made an appointment with Brian at his practice and saw different doctor there, Kristen Bear, and she was just kind of like walking me through it. And so I went every week. I was getting a massage every week, so I was being touched. I was hanging out with my friends and doing the keto thing, like we were on a text thread together. I was doing fasting with a group of friends. So I wasn't doing anything alone anymore. I was doing it with people, with the right doctors, listening to the podcast, talking about the podcast with my friends, with the doctors. And gradually the weight just started to drop off. And it was all about the carbs and going low carb. I don't even know if I actually ever was in ketosis, but I tried to keep my carbs between 25 and 50. My goal was 25 carbs a day, but sometimes I might not have had that, or I probably was in ketosis for a while, but my just dropping the carbs down like that, it made a major difference. And then like probably after 2020, I had a friend from college come and pursue me through Facebook, started talking, and so I started dating again. And then hung out, like started hiking the Grand Canyon and Bright Angel Trail there, and going out there and being with friends. And then I signed up for a dating website, eHarmony. And I cried when I signed up because I did not want to do that. I just wanted to meet somebody organically. But in my field, a lot of women. And so I wasn't going to do it. So, but it was the best thing for me because I was able to start dating and see my value and see that people valued me and liked me and thought I was awesome. And so that was great, along with being in therapy for several years before that. Group therapy, opened myself up to group therapy and individual therapy, and found a safe space to kind of deal with what was going on, because my passion is to heal marriages, and I'm passionate. I love arguing, fighting couples so I can help them. But here my own marriage was going down the tubes, and so there was a lot of shame about that and having to work through that. But yeah, then the weight started to just come off, and I just was allowing it to happen and changing my lifestyle, changing getting connected with people who cared about me, with my friends, following the right doctors, the right program for my body. And 100 pounds later, boom, it came off. And I've pretty much kept it off. I did get married September 4th of last year, and I did pick up a few pounds, um but I've taken them off again. I still want to lose 15 more pounds, but my body kind of gets stuck at a certain point. So, but I've been a little bit more lax. My husband is a runner and eats whatever he wants whenever he wants, and is very thin. So we're a little bit different that way. He's got his cupboard of food. I keep my cupboard with my keto stuff different, so that I don't have to see his cookies and whatnot. Yeah, so yeah, just trying to learn and lose that last 15 to 20 pounds that I want to take off. And still, oh, and I joined the gym. So to kind of take care of myself, I not only did keto and was following low carb MD podcast, but other podcasts with friends, got a massage every week, joined a gym and was going faithfully twice a week, one individual session and then group sessions. Now I'm up to 3 times a week, and my husband and I both do that. So, and then we try to walk, or he runs and I walk. I still can't run other times during the week. So trying to stay athletic as well as low carb, and it seems to be working. It's the right thing for my body. That's pretty much my story. Um, any thoughts, or do you have any questions? Or
Have you had your insulin measured? You know, like so do you know like a before and an after insulin measure?
yeah, my insulin, when I first went to Dr. Lenski's, it was up in the 20s, and then it went down to 7. And so it's staying around 7 ever since then. So and I have to specifically ask my primary care doctor, I need to know what my insulin is, because otherwise it's not, they don't do it.
Right.
I specifically had to say, please, what is my insulin? And so I make sure I get that each and every time.
Did you go to the Low Carb USA conference in August of last year?
No,
Okay.
I
Because I
wish I
think that, well, it'll be there again this year. So we're registered. I think this insulin measurement is really becoming mainstream now because it's in the carnivore conversation, it's in the keto conversation, that it's not so much your glucose level, it's really your insulin, and the insulin drives the fat, because insulin is the hormone that, besides doing a lot of other things, it keeps you from burning your fat because it wants to store fat.
yeah,
And so it's doing 2 things. It's storing the fat that, it's storing what it gets as fat, and it's not letting you release fat. And so it's a two for that's not a very good twofer. But it's all over the internet now. You can easily look at insulin, and they also, unfortunately, it's an inexpensive test if you have to pay for it yourself.
yeah.
I think I've seen it like $29 or $49.
Dollars. I'm getting it drawn because I saw Leah yesterday, Mary, on Zoom,
Oh,
Dr. Lenski's
yes.
PA. And so it was $12.95 with their discount. So yeah.
Yeah, and I've been working with her for the hormones to kind of get those, because we're like, why did I stall so much? But it's probably because I was dating and, eating out. But I still try to do very low carb. normally eat rice or potatoes or anything like that when I go out. I ask for double vegetable and then whatever the meat is. And that's another thing. Like I snack on turkey. Like I have a pack of turkey right here. Or like hamburger. I'll make 5 hamburgers and then I'll have extra hamburgers to eat and then I'll snack on a hamburger or I'll snack on cheese and yeah. So yeah, so I think that's a good thing.
Do
I
you go ahead?
go ahead.
Well, in your therapy, are you starting to recommend the people look at their nutrition? Because, most doctors don't, um, even today, don't get nutritional training, don't talk about nutrition. And I'm sure that there are a lot of couples out there that are stressed out and um, fighting and also have a very, that's high stress level and a high insulin level. And now all of a sudden, if you have an easy you might really enjoy this low carb USA conference that's coming up because it's about mental health. So that's probably a big part of your marriage therapy,
You
I'm
can write
assuming.
it off.
Yeah,
What? Oh yeah,
you can
there
write it off.
yeah. Yeah, and we know, and I think this was the talk that I did the day that Cami did hers as well, is that we're made for connection. We're not wired to do life alone. So, and I was just powering through life on my own. Because I was so busy raising kids and working 2 different jobs and then 4 different jobs. Um, I was, yeah, I was just spent and I had no time for friends. And at this one point, I'm like, what the heck? I'm looking around and my friends were just like, so minimal. And so now, like, I've built that up. I would not live life without friends now. And I just would not do it. And they're so important. And well, if we don't feel like somebody has our back, we're at 500% higher risk of immune disease, deficiencies, heart attacks, strokes, depression, anxiety. We won't live as long. We won't make as much money. So it's so important to be connected to other people and to not do life alone, right? So, yeah.
Well, and
Why
I think too,
Dr. Tammy and Karen go keto?
right. I think too um, when you have a busy job, right, or 4 busy jobs and kids, it may not look like you're alone, but the feeling of being alone, I think it probably is even worse for people, right? It's like you look at your life and you say, but really, who's there to care about me and who am I, connecting with? And it's really, I think, the support. A lot of the communities that I see on YouTube, the steak and butter gang, and I mean, almost in no matter what, it doesn't even have to be about food, right? They always have their Facebook communities tied together because everybody is saying the community counts.
Yeah.
Well, and I
Yes.
think it's really important too to not only have a good community that's important that gives you care, but also good self-care too. To be able to soothe and care for yourself when those people aren't there, but of course to be there. And it's just so wonderful to see how you switched your life around to really making it a lot about community. And then I wanted to say, I don't know if you're willing to say how old you are, because people are kind of, I'm just wondering if people are kind of wondering, because I'm assuming you're postmenopausal when you're going through this, or like what was that? And were you on hormones or not on hormones, or what was going on with the hormones?
Yeah, I was on hormones. I've been on, I don't know how many years now, but bioidentical hormones. Unfortunately, I'm 66 right now.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm still doing bioidentical. And um, yeah, I think, I don't know. My doctor said, like, how long do I have to do this? My hair like started to fall out and I had no energy, but I was sad, I was depressed, I was in a horrible relationship, like just being like just taking a day off from work and being at home and being without the people that were supportive of me, besides my kids, like it was just hard, right? It was just really hard to be with somebody that didn't want to do relationship and was more self-focused, right? So had an addiction issue. So yeah, so hormones, yeah.
Well, I'm in a
Gotcha.
bit of hormones, and it's hard to find an OBGYN doctor that says that, but you
Yeah, they
know,
were my OBGYN doctor was like, you shouldn't do this because I do have cousins, and my sister had breast cancer. It didn't kill them, but there is breast cancer in my family. So they're like, you shouldn't do this. But now they're finding, right, that it's supposed to keep us from that. And so now the research is much different around bioidentical hormones. So
mhm.
yeah, I mean, I wish I didn't have to take them, but it's
There
life
should be
giving.
risks involved with them, and stroke and things like that. I think in the long run, they probably are preventing heart issues. But you always have to look at the balance, right? It's always about quality of life versus the risk. And for I'm on them, and for me, the quality of life is just so much more. It's just so much better the way I feel and
Yeah,
physically and emotionally and those things. So, and then it's something that too you can always every 1 or 2 years just evaluate and see if it might be time to pull off or adjust the dose or go lower dose or something like that.
yeah.
And I thought it was interesting that you were on the Seraphim, which of course is just Prozac. Um, and that did you think that that was helping your insulin stay high?
I don't know scientifically if it was, but I do know that everybody said that it was going to keep me from losing weight. And I was on a very low dose. Like I never took more than 10 milligrams. But oh my gosh, that was so hard to get off because I had been on it. And then one doctor said, oh, yeah, that's real easy. You can just jump right off of there. And oh no, I kind of went crazy one night and so had to get back on it. And they tried other things like there was another one that did something different. I forget what it was called, but it just made me too jittery. So I had to titrate myself off of the Prozac, and it took like almost a year.
Hmm.
Like I went down, 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 and just like weaned myself off, and then finally got off of it, and I was good to go.
Yeah, that's what
So,
I'm thinking about doing right now with some Cymbalta that I've been on since my son passed away. So it's going to be interesting to see. Yeah, because my insulin level's 33. I'm trying it tomorrow, so I'm hoping it's better, everybody.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, share with us tomorrow, maybe in a short, if it,
Well,
what
it's
it is.
a few days to get it back. So
Oh, that's right. That's right.
when I get back from our trip.
So, Mary, did people, while you were on this keto journey yourself and the weight started to come off, were people commenting about it? Did it did it come off that quickly that people would see it and they'd be, "Oh my gosh, what are you doing? I want that."
I think after a year, it was really noticeable. I kind of knew how to dress to hide everything. And so, and also because I was working out so much, it was solid. But I think after a year, like I started to wear more tight fitting clothes, and then people started to notice. And then, yeah, and then that's encouraging. And then, if I did the fasting and then the weight would drop off, like I kept having these goals, like, okay, now I want to get down to this amount. And then my next goal, now I want to get down to that amount. Please God, help me get down to that amount. And then, so I had all these different goals that I would try to get myself to. And yeah, just it was working. It's crazy. how just learning about the insulin changed it. Because I was
Yeah.
like, I would eat steel cut oats in almond milk, unsweetened almond milk with a scoop of whey protein with berries on it. Like, so I was eating what I thought were good carbs or whole wheat bread, good carbs, but never looking at the carb and never knew about the insulin level.
My dad, I think it must have been around 2000. He and my mom were a little chubby, and my dad had the same breakfast every day, and it was oatmeal, and I think maybe some milk on it, but I don't think he even put sugar on it. But he would have a small glass of orange juice and a piece of toast. And that was when I started to get into Atkins, and my mom and I first did Atkins by ourselves and or together, and then my dad's like, "Well, what are you doing?" It's like, "Well, we're cutting our carbs." And he's like, "Well, do I eat a lot of carbs?" And up until this low fat craze that happened in the 80s, my dad was doing bacon and eggs every morning for breakfast. And when he started the oatmeal because it was heart healthy, right? All of a sudden he's got this huge gut, and of course he's getting older. And I'm like, "Dad, yeah, I think we counted up the carbs and it was like 110 carbs for that one meal." And as soon as he cut that out and went back to bacon and eggs, the weight, you know how men are because they have the metabolism, they have got the denser muscles. He just lost it right away.
Yeah, my husband and I 3 eggs in the morning with bacon bits and cheese, and every morning, and in butter,
Yeah.
and love the butter. And then I'll give him a piece of toast or tortilla or something, but I won't have it. And then just yeah, so being fat adapted, that's really great. And then also Dr. Lenski's was talking about like getting rid of the stress in our lives, so important. And then when people go on vacation, don't eat the best, right? Like I just went to Hawaii. That is not a low carb state.
No.
And oh my gosh. And but I didn't gain a pound because I was just having fun and not stressed out. And so that's been kind of cool to and I allowed myself to drink wine throughout, like not every day or anything, but I didn't hold myself back from having fun. You know, when
Mhm.
I got together with friends or, you know, have a glass or two of wine and still it was fine. So I think it was more the lower carb than anything.
Mhm.
I wanted to ask you, did you, your lipid profile, like your cholesterol and triglycerides and HDLs, did they go through any transitions?
They got better and really they were really good. They've been really good. It was interesting because in one of my blood tests with Dr. Bear, who was working with Dr. Lenski's at the time, she's like, "Hey, there's a little flag here. You need to get this checked out, your heart." So I went to my primary care and then I went to a cardiologist. He ordered a scan of my heart because there was this marker, and my dad had had heart disease. And then and then the cardiologist said, "No, everything's fine. You're good, but you can't do keto for the rest of your life. It's not good for you to stay on it, and you need to get off it because it's going to be bad for you." And I told Dr. Bear and Lenski's about that at the time, and they like called the doctor up and said, "Hey, here's the research. This is why what you're saying is not in the research, right? Like it's going to be okay for her to eat a low carb, higher fat diet. She's fat adapted. No, this is not research based what you're telling her." So I really felt amazed about that they were willing to call the doctor, the cardiologist,
Yeah. It-
and educate him.
That's
Wow.
excellent.
Yeah. But yeah, my low cholesterol, yeah, all that has been really good.
And have you had a CAC scan? The
No,
calcium?
no.
Coronary artery calcium scan. That might have been what the cardiologist did.
Yeah, maybe. I'll have
Yeah.
to ask if that's what it was. Yeah, calcium.
Well, we sure hope you can come and join us if you're going to be around in August on the 15th through the 18th. You would
Yeah.
love the conference, Mary. It's fabulous.
Is it in San Diego this year?
In San
It's
Diego,
always
down.
in San Diego.
Yeah, I definitely want to come. I've been listening to a lot of different people that podcasts of like Dr. Lustwig on the what is it, the Luberman show?
Huberman. I think it's with
Huberman,
an H.
yeah,
Mhm.
and Huberman, and just Fast Like a Girl. I've been listening to her and just like all these different podcasts, trying to learn as much as I can about it.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, if you go to Low Carb USA, I know they still have a coupon, like a discount code. So it's relatively inexpensive because it's three jam-packed days, and I think it's $4.99 maybe.
Yeah, it's very reasonable.
Yeah.
And sign up for the dinners if you want, because Cammie and I are signed up for the dinners.
Oh, okay.
They're low carb dinners.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Well, we're
Yeah.
so grateful for you to be here with us. We're
Thank you so much, Mary.
so grateful for you to tell your story and, losing 100 pounds on a keto diet and, learning how to be part of a community and learning how to take better care of yourself and de-stressing your life and all of those things. This is the kind of journey that we're trying to be on, that
And
Yeah.
work
is
together.
there anything that you would like to say to our audience that are contemplating joining us or are already on this journey?
Yeah, just I mean, I had to fight myself. Here I am, a therapist, and I needed a safe space, and I've trained a lot of people, and a lot of people know me in San Diego, so I had to like go online and find a therapy group that was online with people that were going through the same thing I was going through, but across the country, just like a handful of us. And oh my gosh, such a blessing. And then seeing a therapist and then making sure I was working out in the right way and getting a massage so I was touched, and yeah, and just staying connected with people. It just turned the whole thing around for me. Absolutely.
And you spent time in nature.
Yes. Yes, it's interesting. Yes. And I did all 5 peaks in San Diego that year with a friend, and I was supposed to get a badge or something, but I think they stopped handing them out. So I did all 5 peaks here and the Grand Canyon, and I was skiing. I love skiing, so I started skiing again. And yeah, so just finding other ways, and then just hiking up and down Mount Helix as a workout with friends most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, maybe we can get together and do that. I grew up in La Mesa, right at the foot of Mount Helix.
Oh my gosh. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
There's a lot of good hiking around here, so you'll have to come out, Karen.
I will.
Oh yeah. I was biking the Strand and started biking again, and just found friends who were doing the same thing. And yeah, it's wonderful. Wonderful.
Good job. Well, you sure have motivated me today, so thank you so much.
Yes, me too. Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
All
Thanks,
right,
everybody.
Take good care.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.